Hello creators! Today we're going to be using Cursor AI to create an entire application from scratch. We'll walk you through the flow of how we do this. Right now I've got a fresh folder with just two things in it. We're going to be building an application, so I'll take a generated image that I'll use to put for my blog posts, and then I'll resize it in Photoshop and then export it. And that takes a bit of time and forces me to open an app. So it would be really cool if we build an app here from the command line so I can just tell it to resize my photo without having to open any external applications. Or this is going to be something that Cursor can build for us. So we're going to have it do all the work, and we'll just direct Cursor to write this program for us. You can see we've got two things. We got the git ignore. We've got a couple just empty folders set up where we'll be able to put our images, and then the cursor rules file. This is pretty useful. So one of the things you're going to want to be doing when you're working with an AI pair programmer is you've got to choose your architecture and you've got to choose your tech stack, and you have to plan your deployment strategy. Those are things that it won't do for you, and so those are things you will absolutely have to do yourself. This then declares what our tech stack is and our preferred architecture. So this we say senior full stack dev, Node.js, Express. We're going to be building this with JavaScript. We're going to be using plain JavaScript plus JSDoc instead of TypeScript, but we'll still use the TypeScript checker so that we'll see if there's any obvious type errors. And then we're mentioning we want to maintain the README and don't bring in any packages we don't need, and also don't take any shortcuts. Make sure the AI implements everything and don't just leave placeholder comments or to-dos. We want a completeness here, and we'll use environment variables if they're relevant instead of having a config file. That's just easier for videos and security reasons. So, all right, with no further ado, so we got a terminal down here. We're in the cursor window. We can see this. We're going to now open, I guess first we need a photo. So let's go and grab one. Here's a photo I generated in Midjourney. So I'm going to start by saving this one. Okay, let's save that to our folder. Under test images, zeros. Picked a terrible name. All right, this will be image 0. So 0.png. And if we look at this one, we can see this is not the format I want. First of all, it's a PNG. That's the wrong format. And secondly, it's got dimensions of 1456 by 816 because it's a 16 by 9 aspect ratio, and my content management system wants a 2 by 1 ratio. So we're going to implement this resizer to resize that and output it in a preferred format so it's very optimized for web loading. Okay, and this is going to be the nice thing. Since we know what we want the program to do, we'll be able to do QA by running the program and seeing if it gets us what we like, and we won't have to spend as much time reviewing the code because we'll know when it works and when it's not working. So I'm going to open the Cursor Composer. I pressed Command I, and that opens this Cursor Composer bit. So this is a multi-file editor. We'll give it instructions and it will be able to create whatever files it needs. And then we're going to dictate that with voice to tell it what we want to build. We'd like to build a Node global command line app where we can pass with a -i value a file path. And then for that file path, I want the program to open that file. And then I want to resize the image to 1400 pixels wide. And then crop it, center crop to a 2 by 1 ratio from whatever the original size is. And then I want to write that one into the relative path outputs folder with now as a timestamp and save it as a JPEG with quality 80. Then after you do that, I want you to print that file name, the full file path, to the console, and also copy that file path into my clipboard so I can paste that somewhere else. Okay, so we just dictated that with voice, which is faster than typing this. And now we're going to see what happens. All right, Composer is going to work. It's starting to work on, it's going to set up a package JSON for us, build us a blog photo.js main app, and also update the git ignore. It's given us some instructions. Okay, we're going to click accept all. All right, let me see. Can I move this window easily? Yeah. Okay. Let's do npm install to install our packages. And let's see, we got module. Let's do an npm link. And let's see if this works. Blog photo. And then we'll do a -i with the input path of test images 0.png. Okay, we ran into an error, so there's one thing we forgot to set up here. Okay, we're going to need to mark this as executable, so we'll tell it what the error is. Okay, and cursor tells us what we're going to need to do to fix that. Number one, this is the key bit here. We're going to run this to mark that as executable. And let's see if that now works. Okay, input file's missing. Yeah, we got the wrong path. Okay, we got the right path, and let's see if that did our thing. Okay, we have a file, and it named it output.jpg instead of putting it in our outputs folder. Let's see if it's the right dimensions. Okay, this is the correct dimensions and the correct file format. So this is pretty nice because we walked in with an almost 1 megabyte PNG image, and now we're down to 96 kilobytes, so that's a lot more friendly. There's ways to get fancier, but this is going to be pretty nice for our CMS. So we're actually really close to having this what we want. Let's give it that change. So I'm going back in here. Remember, okay. And we haven't even looked at the code to see what it wrote, so we can take a look at that, but we'll just try this out to see, and then if this works, then we can review what code it wrote for fun. Okay, it did an ISO format timestamp. That's fine. Let's see, and it did put it in the outputs folder. That's fantastic. And lastly, let's see if did it output. Is that in the clipboard? Oh, we did not accept all yet. Okay. It's not in the clipboard. You forgot to put the file path in the clipboard. All right, so it's going to add a new package for clipboardy. Yep, that seems right. And then it's going to, all right, let's try that. We got to do another npm install because we have a new package. And let's run it again. All right, let's see. Yes, our file path is in the clipboard. So that's now doing exactly what I want. Okay, so we've now written our app. Now let's just check for completeness and see if the README has what it wants. Nope, the README is not updated. Write a detailed README with install instructions, usage, and use cases. All right, so it should be able to just update that for us. Meanwhile, we'll read the code and see what it built while it's working over here. That's kind of nice. Composer can be doing its thing while you're doing your own thing. So yeah, it followed a lot of the instructions. We have the TS check that we asked for in the in the cursor rules. It's using Commander to set up the input arg handling. It recursively makes the directory if it doesn't exist. That's a really nice thing. It's handling this. I don't see the JPEG 80 quality in here, so that's one other thing we're probably going to want to do. Otherwise, this is looking really nice. Okay, let's check. We'll have it update that. For the output image, it should be JPEG quality 80. And while it's updating that, let's read our README. Blog photo is a command line tool designed to quickly resize and crop images for blog posts and social media. Yes, it automatically resizes images. Perfect. How to install. Once installed, you can use it from anywhere in your terminal. I did not finish writing this. So looks like my internet connection might be having a hiccup, or the connection to the AI server. So that's a downside. Let's try that again. And meanwhile, okay, cool. It's live again. And then we'll also open just the normal edit window here. Eval, give specific line usage example here. Okay, now let's check here. Okay, great. Now we've got the quality 80 like we requested. We'll then verify that it did not do that. We'll ask Composer to do it. Update the And then the last thing to do is we'll test our program again to make sure it still works. Okay, perfect. It does. It just generated another one for us. Oh. So this is one thing it looks like it's struggling with. It really doesn't want to write that usage example. We'll give it an example here. Let's try a different model, see if it has better results. Okay. All right. Good enough. We can have all the documentation, and I'm puzzled why it got stuck on the usage bit, since I would think that should be very easy for it, but everything else, it seems like it did really well. And now we've got a full application. We'll be sharing the code for this on GitHub. I'll attach the link below. And also I'll be sharing that cursor rules file that we use to direct Cursor about what tech stack and architecture style to use. And now even when I'm done with Cursor, I've now got this blog photo utility that I can use from my command line anywhere from any terminal to quickly process a photo for my blog CMS. I hope this was helpful. This is how you can create tools and automate things that would otherwise take manual processes. And you can build a tool like this in less than 10 minutes very easily. Have fun creating.